Hey guys, what's up? I've been doing some thinking and I've discovered that Silverback Patriarch is the worst card in the game. So, naturally, I decided to build a deck around it. But before I get into deck building, let me explain why it is the worst card in the game. I'm going to compare Patriarch to cards that serve a similar function and explain why the other cards are better. Matchup number 1, Silverback Patriarch versus Bronze Gatekeeper. You'd think that Silver is better than Bronze, but not here. Gatekeeper's better stat line and strong magnetic mechanic simply outperform Patriarch. Next up, Druid of the Swarm. This card lets you get a 2 mana, 1/5 beast with taunt. It's cheaper and better in every way. Moving on. Druid of the Scythe. You can get a better statted 3 mana taunting beast. Also pretty simple, right? Final Druid card, War Druid Loti. Again, you can just get the same thing but better. Here are Loti's forms, because you'll never actually see them in the game. The important thing to note with these past few cards is that you have options. Not only can you have a buffed up Patriarch, but you have flexibility if need be. Everyone's favorite contestant, Belligerent Gnome. While he has no tribe, the Gnome keeps the stat line up in taunt, while being cheaper and potentially having even better stats. Even still, the Gnome rarely sees play, which shows just how bad Patriarch truly is. The 3 mana taunt icon himself, Tar Creeper. How is this comparison even fair? Tar Creeper is a god amongst men in this competition, and Silverback Patriarch is merely an ape amongst men. Phantom Militia. This card is better on turn 3 and shines with later turn potential that Patriarch can't even dream of. A Friendship for the Ages, Iron Fur Grizzly. Both are core set 3 mana beasts with taunt, and yet Grizzly is just better. It's touching to see these cards remain friends even through their value differences. There are many more cards I could use as examples, but I think you have the point by now. Plenty of cards in Hearthstone are bad cards. The difference is that other cards are fun to play or have a big payoff. Patriarch is just boring and bad. But there are 3 somewhat redeeming factors to Silverback Patriarch. Number 1, it's a beast and therefore has beast synergies. Number 2, it has a unique stat line that could maybe have some unique effects. Number 3, he's a Patriarch, which means that he is a loving and caring father. Look at him toss around a football with his son. How wholesome. So with these 3 traits in mind, let's move on to what class we should play Silverback Patriarch in. So for Warrior, I cannot find any use for Patriarch. There is no need to run it over 3 drops already in use. It may have found a home in Old Taunt Warrior, but even then other 3 drops outshine the Patriarch by far. Warrior is a quick and easy no. I currently have a pretty gnarly Shaman deck with Spirit of the Frog and Banana Buffoon. Silverback is thematic with bananas, but that's all I've got. Shaman currently gets the most use out of Patriarch due to exotic Mount Seller and RNG. Even still, Shaman gets rejected as well. Rogue has more potential than you might think. They already run a few good beasts and naturally have a lot of draw, so sneaking an Untamed Beastmaster in might be okay. You could also Togwaggle Scheme and get a ton of Patriarchs if that's what you really want. The schemiest plan I had was Patriarch into Scheme, into Beastmaster, into Toland's Goblet. But that's a lot of wind up for not a lot of payoff. Rogue gets a big red X. Paladin. Now here's a man of culture. Patriarch's wacky stats allow for him to be drawn by Crystology. Beastmaster's problem was that the draw was not consistent enough, but now Crystology is very specific. Add a few more 1-attack beasts, toss in some Nightmare Amalgams to bridge the gap between Beast and Dragon, round it out with some hand buff cards. Beautiful. Now we have a classic big hand buff Dragon Beast Paladin. Paladin gets the first ever green checkmark. A Beast and Hunter. How natural. I'm sure that a Hunter deck could succeed with Patriarch, but it would end up being mid-range Hunter with 2 Silverback Patriarchs in it and 28 mid-range Hunter Beast cards. Dire Frenzy has some potential, but I'm still saying no. Personally, I'm a big fan of Beast Druid. Sadly, cards like Predatory Instincts and Stampeding Roar are wasted on Patriarch. Druid gets a no as well. The general plan here is to Beastmaster and Plot Twist. Elk is a beast and can double the Plot Twist. While we're shuffling, let's toss in some Portal Goons as well. Now we have a lot of demons, so let's add a demon package. Our good friend Nightmare Amalgam is both, so let's bring him along. Remember the 3 traits of Silverback Patriarch? Well, now Warlock has discovered a hidden 4th trait, good at dying. Capitalize on this with the Spirit of the Bat. For some reason, Warlock gets a green checkmark. No. For Priest, I'm simply going to put a beast package in an already existing deck I have. I don't think it'll be great, I just enjoy the sound of Beast Priest. My pre-existing deck utilizes Spirit of the Dead to create 1-cost minions I can rush out with Magic Carpet. Okay, so now we have our classes, and here are the deck lists. So there are some minor variations from time to time as I evolved the deck lists. The Priest deck was all over the place and I couldn't rein it in. The Warlock list is missing the core piece that is the Silverback Patriarchs, and I'm fairly confident in this Paladin deck. I don't think it needs much change. Pause the video if you'd like to see more, but I must move on. Warlock performed the worst, Priest between the two, and Paladin performed surprisingly well. Here's a clip of the Warlock deck in action. I'm in a sticky spot and it seems like there's no way out. Here I am, using my massive brain to puzzle a way out of this one. I'm on 4 health, but I tap because I'm a man. This gives me more Fellhounds. The Fellhounds die and proc my Spirit of the Bat. This buffs the doubling imp in my hand, which receives double value from hand buff shenanigans. Meanwhile, I have drawn a Nightmare Amalgam with an untamed Beastmaster on board, furthering my hand buff conquest. And just when you think I ran out of value, I use Barista Lynching to get back 2 doubling imps. With the Priest deck, I actually beat a Token Druid. What a great match. Sadly, I didn't get the footage. This happened though. Ay, 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 ay. You have best. And finally we get to the Paladin deck. It manages to draw the best out of both of Patriarch's traits with one combo. What's that, you say? There was a third trait? That's right. Hidden father synergies. Evil Cable Rat? Look closer at the art at that tiny little rat. Boom, needs parenting. Bronze Herald? Kind of small for a dragon. He looks like an up-and-coming young man. Boom, needs parenting. Untamed Beastmaster? Again, look closer at the art. Some of these beasts could be babies. Boom, needs beastly parenting. Arena Fanatic? Is Arena Fanatic a child? I can't really tell. Nightmare Amalgam? He looks like he was freshly created. Maybe he has some body image or self-confidence issues. Oh yeah, Patriarch time. So I played 5 games with this deck and went 5-0. Silverback Patriarch felt good in the deck. It didn't feel like a good 28 card deck with 2 Patriarchs. They felt essential. In fact, I might even say Silverback Patriarch is overpowered. Blizzard, I dare you to nerf Silverback Patriarch. I'm gonna give a brief rundown of each game. In the first game, I was up against Eureka Shaman. I got the early combo and performed well, but I don't think my opponent drew well either, although they did Eureka out and Alec here on turn 6. I got lucky on a later turn when a Hagatha scheme just barely left the Crowd Roaster alive. In the end, I played a nice Silverback Patriarch and he forfeited. The next game was against, I think, some kind of combo mage. I got my mini combo off early and then he just froze my board till it looked like this on turn 10. I won pretty easily. 2 more games were against Spellhunter and a janky Conjurer's Calling Mage. The stories were similar. The Beast package and some of the hand buff cards had great stat presence early and mid game, while the Dragon package handled the late game. I just had more raw stats than other decks. You know, now that I think about it, is Silverback Patriarch not actually the worst card in the game? I mean, it now has an okay home in this Paladin deck, while cards like Magma Rager and Angry Chicken have no real place. I can't trash on Angry Chicken though, that card got me into Hearthstone. A friend got me to download it, but I wasn't convinced until I saw Angry Chicken and fell in love. This last game is a great example of this deck in action. I'm gonna play this fast with minimal editing. Feel free to click away from the video now. Also, since kids these days find it funny, I'm gonna bass boost it and saturate it.